All right, guys. Good evening. Futures Brizio here. It is what time is it? 7:50 p.m. on Monday, March 17th. Hope everybody had a great day, had a good weekend, and back for another trading week. So we'll jump right in. I am live here, so if you happen to jump on the live stream, make sure you say hello. Feel free to ask any questions. If you're just seeing it on the YouTube channel later, recorded, of course, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section. All right, so we'll just jump right in. We'll start with futures. And it was a good day in futures, so we'll just review a couple of the trades I took. So we'll start here on the DAX. So the DAX, um, had this big run up, and then we really came back down into this level and started moving back up. We took out this little resistance area here on the 4-hour chart, and I was waiting to see if that was going to hold or if we were going to break lower. We had put in, a higher low right here. You can see we put a trend line under here. We made a couple attempts to try to go lower back down towards this level, and we failed. So I was, basically holding on to still a pretty bullish bias even after all of this junk that's been going on here for about the last month. So price broke above this resistance level today, and that's where I decided to get in. If we just see here, I just got in straight away. As soon as, we had this push up, and then it pulled back a tiny little bit, and as soon as we started turning more bullish again, I jumped into that. We were trading above the 9-period moving average here on the 30-minute chart, the 1-hour chart, so I felt pretty good about it. And so we went up, we came back, retested that area again, and then went up. And you can see I closed the trade right towards the end of the day. And basically, we're sitting now at this other resistance level that's sitting up here. So I was comfortable getting out at that point because, again, if you look to the left here, you can see we do have this area sitting right here. And that's kind of where price got hung up today. Now, we do have more highs sitting up above here. And so we may very well push up back towards these highs and maybe go higher. But you can see right through here, there's a lot of resistance. We have multiple hits on this general area where price is sitting right now. You can see like at least 1, 2, 3. There's probably 3 or 4 more hits in here. Then over here, there's a couple from back in February. So, so I was pretty comfortable that that would be a good place to take profit. So I did close it. And again, not to say we won't go higher. If we pull back here and start to move higher again, then we might go up and at least challenge these old highs. So basically now this area here, let me take some of this clutter off the charts because we don't really need this so much anymore. Yeah, I don't really think we need that anymore. We're even going to take this level off. So now, this area kind of like right here becomes, to me, our new kind of support or demand area right here on the 4-hour chart. It's not a very big one, but you can see it here on the 1-hour. So to me, this is kind of the area to keep in mind now for what this might do and kind of that line in the sand. So as long as this holds, we get a pullback during the overnight, even into early tomorrow, get a pullback to somewhere between like here and down into this level, and we get some bullish price momentum, then, I would potentially think about another long and, to go back and re-challenge these highs. But, we'll see what it does during the overnight and early tomorrow. But it was a decent trade on the DAX, and you can see I haven't had too many of late. I was on a tear with them back in February and the beginning of the year, but as of late, there's only been a few, as this has really been kind of very choppy. So, so that's DAX. We'll move on to copper. This was actually a really good trade. I actually took this trade, even though it doesn't look like much. I took this trade on my funded account, and I made about 8% on my funded account on this trade. and it was probably about 8% on my personal account then here too. So basically what we have on this is, again, we have this kind of we have this pullback area right here where price came down, retested this area, which of course was, our previous breakout area of this last move from, right here. This was our last area here. So you can see price came back down with these bearish candles during the early session today, probably London or overnight last night, and came back down here and tested it. And then, I basically was looking for some bullish price action. I got in a little bit late, as you can see, because let's see what time that was. That was around 8 o'clock this morning. So basically what I saw was, we're again, we kind of bottomed out right here, went up, put in a higher low, went up, broke to new highs, came back, put in this this higher low right here. And I felt that was a good opportunity to get in. As soon as I started seeing a little bullish price action, I just jumped right in. I had my stop sitting underneath here, and price just went on up. And you can see I closed it at the top again right before the session ended today. Now we are at contract highs here, so it's really hard to really draw any conclusions about this going higher, but you do have to respect this uptrend. So until it proves otherwise, this becomes our the area to watch in terms of having to be broken to consider this to be a change of direction in this market. So as long as it holds above here, then I'm still looking for longs. So again, any kind of pullback here, in the meantime, back down to wherever, whether it's, in here or all the way down, as far as you can go all the way down to this level. I don't think it would go that far, but if it did, that would still be okay. And that would actually be a great risk to reward ratio, and then another move back to the upside. So let's see what happens with copper, but it was definitely a pretty bullish day today. On to natural gas. You can see I'm still holding a short position here. It's getting close to my take profit level, which is a very conservative take profit. If I zoom out a little bit, you can see it's this level right here, which is held. We've had at least 2 touches on this level already. And if you look over to the left, we've got this area in here where there's been a lot of bullish buying in the past. It's not off the lows, but for you kind of fair value gap SMC traders, this is an area that does catch my eye a little bit because we had these 2 really super impulsive 4-hour bullish candles coming off this low. And you can see price is kind of getting hung up right about at that spot where these 2 candles meet, where this red arrow is sitting. So although, I still think a better target is back down towards these lows, I'm playing it a little bit conservative, thinking, about these levels here. Now, the last time it came down here, well, let's talk about the last 2 times it came to this area. So we had it come right here. Well, that was just basically a new low that was put in off of the last move down, okay? And then we had price come up, a little dead cat bounce, come down, tag it again. That wasn't really a good move because it didn't really retrace all that much. So I wouldn't put a whole lot of stock into this one. And then we came up and we had this super bearish 4-hour engulfing candle that happened during the early session today right here. Okay, we had this really super bearish engulfing candle came in. So that is a good sign that this might have actually be the resumption of the downtrend, which may just end up blasting right through this area. And so we'll see. But, there's about a 2 to 1.5 risk to reward ratio. So not great, but it's not bad either. And so I would be willing to, I'm willing to, say I'm going to hold it at least to this take profit. You can see where that dotted red line is. That's my TP level, again, back at those lows. But I would not be at all surprised if we just smash right through there and end up coming down to at least this area right here. And that's fine. And there might still be an opportunity to get into a trade like that if it doesn't go very far and then pulls back. maybe during the early session tomorrow, there'll be another opportunity to sell this if I'm out of this trade back to this level as another area of opportunity. So we'll see. But, we could get just one bearish 4-hour candle go down and tag this area during the London session. And, I won't see it. It'll be too late by the time I see it. So because it's not really that far to go. But if it kind of breaks through here and kind of chops around at this level a little bit, and I can get a good entry, a low risk entry, then I might consider another short back to here, assuming that I get taken out of this position I'm sitting in right now. But like I said, it's a pretty conservative TP just because of how prices reacted off of this area a couple of times already, and because of what's going on off to the left here in previous very strong bullish demand coming out of this area. There's obviously a lot of buy orders still sitting at this level where it is now, whether they be buy orders or people just taking profit on their shorts. But it's the buy orders that, I'm thinking about that could still be sitting here waiting for price to retrace all the way back into here and then shoot up again. So I don't want to be caught on that, but I may end up definitely leaving some money on the table. And then finally in futures, this is oil, and you can see I took this trade today in oil right here. I got out again back at these lows, at this previous low. Price was seeming to get hung up at this low again, and so that's where I get out. And basically, on this trade, you can see we're still in pretty much bearish price action. So we were seeing price, held down here. But then we went up, we made, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher highs. And then we got to this level today. We got up to this area right here today on the 4-hour chart. And then if we step down a little bit, on the 1 hour, we failed to put in a new high. Like on this bounce off of this level, we came up, failed to put in a new high. So that's my first sign that this uptrend correction might be over, and we fail to put in a new high. And then go down a little further to the 15. You can see that on the 15. And then as soon as we started making lower highs and lower lows, the actual good entry would have been probably right here, but I got into it just a very short time later. You can see we put in that lower high off the higher time frame and then went down, put in another lower high going back the other way, and then a new lower low, pulled back again for another lower high here, and then that's when I decided to get in. And then of course we broke this support level. Price did react when it broke here, came back up, retested back into the range, kind of sucked people in to go to buy it back here, and then it did chop around for a while, went up a little bit further and kind of sucked people back in. I actually went into drawdown for a short period of time, not even one 15-minute candle, 'cause this is a 15-minute chart. So we had this wick right here that kind of put me in drawdown for 15 minutes or less, and then we broke down again, came back to these lows, and that's where I closed the position. And you can see now we are, just kind of drifting back up during the overnight session. But this whole price move here does look pretty corrective. And so, basically, and we are trading back below the 9-period SMA and below support. So basically I am still pretty bearish on this, on crude oil, and could ultimately look to come back down at least towards these lows down here, back to these previous lows, which would be a third tap at this low. But this would be a good short-term target. So probably will, unless we get a break higher and we start taking out swing highs like this one, I probably would be looking to still short this thing, especially on a break, say, below this trend line that you can now clearly draw on the hourly chart. And again, short-term targets back at these lows. All right. So that is crude oil. All right. So again, at least short-term bearish in crude oil. Same thing in natural gas. I think copper, you have to remain bullish, as we don't really have any reference here on the futures charts. So I think you have to remain bullish on copper and buy pullbacks. And on this on this DAX. Again, we are sitting at a key level here on the higher time frame off the 4 hour that we talked about. There's multiple touches at about this level now. That doesn't mean that's going to hold. This could just be a retail, what I call a retail area, where retail traders are trying to, sell off this area and, pick a top because it's been hit a bunch of times. But a lot of times what we see is price will just kind of pull back a little bit, kind of suck in some people to go short, and then it'll smash right through that area. But, it tried to do that before and it wasn't able to. So, like I said, it was a good area to manage the trade. Now, whether this area holds and we do start moving, quite a bit more to the downside remains to be seen. But again, until if and when this area down in here is broken, it is still in an uptrend, regardless of how much it pulls back. As long as this area holds where this rectangle is, then I still consider this in an uptrend, and eventually, could start to see prices move higher again. And if we get a pullback, but we start to move higher and start putting in higher highs, higher lows, then certainly I think this area will then be taken out and we can target back up to here. All right, so that is futures. And then on to Forex. Again, the only, as I made from the video last night, I've kind of reduced my trading down to basically just the dollar Swiss and the Euro USD. I am still holding a short. You don't see it on here because I only trade Forex on my funded account. It's in a small profit. I took it earlier today. It went up a little bit. Dollar-wise, the price went down. It's kind of retraced here in the overnight. But I think clearly you can still see that this thing is in a downtrend. And I think this uptrend corrective move was ended. Certainly it was on a shorter time frame. This was kind of our last major swing high. And then I had this area as kind of a retracement area. And price broke through this where we had this previous low put in. So I expected price to retrace at least back to this previous swing area, which is exactly where it went. But anywhere in between these two yellow lines would have been fine. But you can see we broke lower here. And as long as, we don't start putting in higher lows and higher highs to reverse off of this level, I think this is basically a dead cat bounce. We'll, move up tonight. We might get some manipulation during London, and then we'll turn and continue lower. And I think, again, a good short-term target on the dollar Swiss is right here at this previous low, okay, which is still, it's not a huge ways off. This is a daily chart now. The dollar Swiss doesn't put in a ton of pips, but this is about 85 to 90 pips. So it's about, a day and a half, 2 days of price action based on the daily average to get it back down to here. So we could definitely hit this area, by, if we don't tomorrow, then like by Wednesday or so, if this is going to hold. But as long as price remains essentially, certainly below this area. But now if we go down and put in new lows, as I was just talking about, then this one here would become our swing. I don't see any reason to take my bearish stance of dollar Swiss off as it continues to look the way it does. And of course, the euro dollar is just the opposite. I did not take euro dollar trades. I did have one left over from Friday, which I closed when the market opened yesterday. And it probably was good because it really didn't do anything. And again, if you can see here on the daily chart, it's very clear where that yellow line is that there's a major resistance area sitting here. Now, again, much like what we were looking at one of those futures accounts, we could see price come up here, kind of run into resistance at this level, which you can see it's approaching it, and, chop around, maybe pull back a little bit and then blast right through here. And as long as we keep putting in higher highs and higher lows, even if we get a little pullback, that's okay. As long as the structure holds, then certainly, we could see a pullback and then this thing go higher. And if it does, then I don't think there's anything to stop it until it gets, probably up to like this area up here somewhere. So there could be a lot of room to run if it can get through this area. So I'm just going to stand aside right now. Again, looking at the dollar Swiss, which of course is the opposite of the euro dollar. If the dollar Swiss is going to continue down, then the euro dollar will continue up. But we could have the dollar Swiss move down towards that level on the daily chart pretty quickly, and at the same time have euro dollar go up and close the rest of this gap and then turn and go down. So that's why I'm not really keen on taking euro dollar, because if those lows are if those levels are going to hold, then this is not enough headroom for me to bother taking a trade even on a shorter time frame. It's just not there. But it still looks pretty bullish. And so again, if we can definitively close above this level on, say, like a 1 hour chart, and we can get above here and close above, that would be a great sign. And I certainly would be looking to take, at that point, take longs heading back towards this larger overhead daily resistance level, which you can see here on the daily and the weekly. This whole area up here still looks like a good target if we can get through here off this daily level. Okay, but for now, I'm not trading the euro dollar until that happens, until it makes it a little bit more clear, until we either reverse and go lower, or we get through this level and continue to go higher. But at this point, with the reactions that we're probably going to see around here, to me, that's not worth the risk. So I'll hold the dollar Swiss trade for now, and we'll see what happens once we get a little closer to this area, and to see what kind of reaction we get. All right. So yeah, so that's about it, guys. Like I said, that's all I'm doing with Forex now. It's really dollar Swiss, euro USD. I do occasionally look at euro Swiss, which does have some correlation certainly with the euro dollar, not the way it used to. I don't really trade euro Swiss much, but it does lend itself to some good analysis. So I do kind of use it as a way to comparison in terms of market structure. But if you did want to look at euro Swiss, here's the 4 hour chart. We have this level right here now as support. We did go up, make a new high. It's not a great new high, but it did make a new high. And again, the euro Swiss does follow the euro USD pretty closely. So which makes sense that this is going higher. And so it's a good reference, even if you don't actually trade it. But if you are interested in trading euro Swiss, certainly I think it has room to go higher. I do think there's probably a level sitting up here, this one on the daily chart, that would be a good short-term run up to that level, which from where it is now, is about 135 pips. So that's a nice little run that it certainly could make and get back up to here. And then, we'll see. Once it gets to here, if this holds, then, we'll probably turn down. Again, if we break through here, then the next run would be, way up at this high that was put in last May. So like I said, I'm not actually trading euro Swiss, but if I was, my bias on this would be at least short-term bullish. All right. Anyways, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Make sure, again, you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Any questions or comments, leave them down below. And we'll be back tomorrow with another video.